Going into the summer of 2004, the footballing world had their eyes set on the Euro Cup and Copa America respectively. Meanwhile in London, Chelsea are gearing up for their second season under owner Roman Abramovich. In the season prior, Chelsea finished second only to Arsenal's invincible squad. However, with a bottomless checkbook and endless ambition, Abramovich was ready to turn his recent acquisition into an elite winning side. On June 2nd, 2004, footballing history would change forever. After paying a fee of £1.7 million to Portuguese club Porto, Chelsea would secure their new manager, a man by the name of Jose Mourinho. Coming off of 2 seasons where he won the league twice in dominating fashion, a domestic cup, the UEFA Cup, and finally, the crown jewel of his Porto tenure, the Champions League. The summer not only resulted in the signing of a new manager, but what could also be considered one of the greatest transfer windows of all time. Before we get into the window, please help me out by liking and subscribing, as well as leaving a comment for other footballing videos you would like to see. Mourinho and Chelsea's first signing was Paulo Ferreira on June 23rd. Mourinho had Ferreira at Porto, where he converted him from a right midfielder to a right fullback, where he excelled playing in both the UEFA Cup final and Champions League final. Chelsea paid a fee of £13.2 million, setting a tone for the rest of the window. Next signing was young goalie Peter Cech, earning his move after 2 seasons between the sticks for French side Rennes, being a standout player for the team as they survived relegation on the last day of the season. Chelsea would go on to spend £7.1 million on the young keeper, setting a club record at the time for most expensive goalie, officially securing his services on July 1st. Next signing was also completed on July 1st when Arjen Robben completed his move to the London club, being a part of the most lethal Dutch attack in 02-03 for PSV, scoring 12 goals in 33 matches. Robben was highly sought after, with English club Manchester United even putting in an offer that was rejected. Chelsea shortly after secured his services for £12 million. Although his 03-04 campaign was riddled with injuries and disappointing performances, he was still seen as a great talent. 12 days later, Chelsea would sign the other part of that PSV attack, nicknamed Batman, Serbian striker Mateja Kezman. Kezman and Robben won the Dutch League in 02-03 for PSV, which earned the pairing the name Batman and Robben. In his 4 years at PSV, Kezman racked up 105 goals in 122 appearances, even winning the Eredivisie scoring title in 2000, eventually signing on with the London club for £5.3 million. Mourinho and Chelsea turned their attention back towards the French league as they looked to bolster their attack. While Abramovich had his eyes and wallet set on the best number 9s in the game, the Portuguese manager already had a striker and a young Ivorian, Didier Drogba. While seen as relatively raw, Drogba was a powerhouse of a player during his time in France. After a season for French side Marseille, where Drogba scored 19 and 35 in the league while scoring another 5 in European competition, showing he has the technical prowess in front of goal to match the physical ones, leading to Chelsea having an offer accepted for £24 million, and on July 20th, they had their new number 9. Looking to add reinforcements to the midfield, Mourinho went to rival Portuguese club in Benfica, signing a goal-scoring midfielder in Thiago Mendes. Mendes was a key part of the Benfica team that beat Mourinho's Porto in the Portuguese Domestic Cup in his second season as manager. The deal between the London and Portuguese clubs was sealed for £10 million on July 28th. Chelsea and Mourinho returned to Porto to take Portuguese phenom, UEFA Defender of the Year, UCL winner, and top 10 Ballon d'Or finisher, Porto's star defender, Ricardo Carvalho. After 2 elite seasons under Mourinho, the Portuguese man had every major club at the time interested, with Madrid even bidding £7 million. However, the bid was rejected as it came nowhere near the club evaluation of £20 million, and on the 20th of July, Chelsea would win the battle for the services of one of the premier centre-backs in the world for the price of £19.8 million. The final signing was another Portuguese player by the name of Nuno Moraes, who was a young defensive midfielder signed from Portuguese club Penafiel. With around £92 million spent on incoming players and a manager who was already being dubbed the chosen one by English media, could this team do it? become Premier League champions? Let's find out. Before we go any further, it is important to look at how Mourinho would often set up Chelsea. Playing a 4-3-3 helped create disadvantages when playing against the popular formation of 4-2-2, allowing for more aggressive pressing off the ball with its high wide wingers while allowing for midfield security by constantly having more numbers. Now let's look at some of the common lineups Mourinho would use. Mourinho had a very good squad that allowed for a lot of rotation, so there wasn't a go-to starting 11. Let's take a quick look. Starting in goal was Peter Cech, a great shot stopper and an extremely reliable performer. Left back was split between two players, Wayne Bridge and William Gallas. Bridge was preferred as he was more of an out-and-out left back, while Gallas was more defensive as he was a converted center back. Although Bridge was preferred, he struggled with injury, leading to more minutes for Gallas. Right back was held down by aforementioned Paulo Ferreira, who is both reliable in attack and in defense. Moving on to Mourinho's preferred center-back pairing, we had new signing Ricardo Carvalho, who was smooth on and off the ball with a very high footballing IQ, and captain John Terry, an elite physical defender with great ball security and passing range. In front of the center-backs was Claude Makelele, a defensive midfielder who was relentless off the ball and very smart with it, the true engine of the team. Next in midfield was new signing Thiago Mendes, highly skilled and very technical with a great eye for goal. Completing the midfield would be Frank Lampard, a world-class player who could do it all, both scoring and assisting as well as being a strong leader on the pitch. Next are Joe Cole and Damien Duff, both highly skilled players that could play out on the wings or in the midfield, allowing for goals, assists, and great work rate in and out of possession. Another consistent name on the team sheet was young Dutch forward Arjen Robben, a versatile player that was lethal in front of goal and could rival any player in the league with the ball at his feet. Moving on to striker, both Drogba and Eidur Gudjohnsen played a lot for Mourinho. Gudjohnsen was more versatile, with Mourinho using him in other forward positions or in the midfield. Drogba served more as the true number 9, with his job to occupy both center backs, allowing for numerical disadvantages in the final third. Now that we have gone over the signings, the tactics, and squad, let's get into the season. I've highlighted 6 pivotal games that sum up the league campaign for Chelsea. Starting on Sunday, May 15th with the season opener versus Manchester United at the Bridge. Although Manchester United was not at their best, beating Sir Alex and United is a perfect start to a new season, and thanks to a Gudjohnsen goal 15 minutes into the match, that's exactly what Chelsea would get, sending United out of the capital on opening weekend and having 3 points to show. 5 weeks later, on September 19th, Chelsea would play Tottenham at home. Although being unbeaten up to this point, a 0-0 draw last week to Villa hurt them, and unfortunately they would land the same result, putting them 2 points behind London rival and league leaders Arsenal. Fast forward a month to October 16th, where the London club travelled up to face Manchester City. Chelsea was starting to pick up some winning form, with 2 1-0 wins versus Middlesbrough and Liverpool. The Blues were still unbeaten and yet to concede an away goal. However, this all changed when Paulo Ferreira brought down Anelka in the box in the 10th minute, resulting in a spot kick that gave City a 1-0 lead that would lead to Chelsea's first loss of the season. Chelsea began to face media criticism and only scored 8 goals in 9 games. However, they had only conceded 2 and the chosen one was sure the goals would start pouring in, losing no sleep over Arsenal and their 5-point lead. 2 months later, on December 12th, Chelsea would travel to Highbury to play second-place Arsenal, with Chelsea finding their goal-scoring form, having bagged 23 since their loss to City in October. The league and its fans were on high alert of Chelsea and Mourinho's dominance. Arsenal, who up to this point were Chelsea's closest competitors, had started to falter, but were still within reach, setting up a major game in the title race. Arsenal jumped out to an early lead thanks to an Henry goal, with Terry drawing it level at minute 17. However, at the half-hour mark, Henry scored his second on a quick free kick, really putting the pressure on Chelsea. But Chelsea would not lay down, scoring an equalizer thanks to Gudjohnsen 35 seconds into the second half. Henry would go on to miss a wide-open goal towards the latter stages of the game, resulting in a 2-2 draw, solidifying Chelsea's place at the top of the league, 5 points clear of Arsenal. Jumping all the way to March 5th, Chelsea was on a historic pace. Since conceding 2 at Highbury in mid-December, Chelsea had not conceded, racking up 10 clean sheets in a row and having a point tally of 68 with a plus 42 goal differential. Unfortunately, in an away matchup against Norwich, where Chelsea scored 3 thanks to goals from Cole, Kesman, and Carvalho, Norwich also scored, which snapped what could have been an all-time streak. It is now the final day of April as Chelsea travel to Bolton in hopes to seal their first ever Premier League title. A win against Bolton would mathematically eliminate Arsenal from the title race. The match between the two teams would start with 60 minutes of goalless football until club top scorer and league top assister Frank Lampard stamped his name on the match with a 60th minute goal, and again 15 minutes later, sending traveling fans into a frenzy. Chelsea would go on to win the game 2-0, as well as the Prem title 15 days later. Mourinho's Chelsea was dominant from top to bottom, finishing with a record-setting 95 points, while also setting records for least goals conceded at 15 and most clean sheets at 25. 04-05 Chelsea is one of the greatest teams of all time. The combination of technical ability and physicality made this team a nightmare to deal with. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want to help me out, you can do so by liking, subscribing, and checking out some of my other videos.